Let me ask you this. How high on adrenaline and disbelief were you on through the moments that the beautiful game has had to offer you from this 24-25 footballing season? Crystal Palace being the complete surprise to win the FA Cup, Bologna lifting their second piece of silverware in this half of a century, beating Milan in Coppa Italia, or even PSG declaring a reasonable European title that matches their own ethos and club size. The fact that these cups are there to be won throughout the year is why these moments are so special. The English FA Cup final is once every year. The final is just on one specific day, and that trophy is now owned and won by Crystal Palace. If then a month later we had another English Cup played between them English teams, it wouldn't perhaps have the same effect and speciality, would it? That time away from football that we do have to unfortunately go through is a time that it breaks away from the sport, and it's the perfect time for us to have away from football, for the sport to hold that memorable feeling that we love to have hit us. Once August comes round again for the new season, it's always worth a wait, and that 3-month wait is always so tedious, but without a doubt needed for it to still have that same level of excitement. The FIFA Club World Cup has begun, and we'll get into the detail of the tournament later on in the video. But there is more football to be played now, more football for us to watch, and of course we love to watch the beautiful game itself, but is this something that we're all specifically wanting? Is FIFA President Gianni Infantino giving us too much football here to the point that it is drying out the sport? Like the World Cup being every 4 years, we, like I said, normally have a 3-month wait until the new season starts. It makes it feel all that bit special again. It comes back at the sweetest and most needed moment. Having that wait makes some feelings possible. But this is a brand new tournament, and maybe it's something that we didn't realise we needed in our footballing lives from the spectators' point of view. Let's dive in and talk more about this FIFA Club World Cup. As always, like the video and be sure to hit that subscribe button too, and never be a stranger on this channel. Be sure to leave a comment down below reflecting on your thoughts on this newly formed competition. Let's begin. As football fans, we love to speculate crossovers of what it's like seeing two gigantic and top winning teams coming together to face each other over a 90-minute football game. It's the reason why we do have the UEFA Champions League, as primarily the gods of football, as I'll call it, all are situated in Europe. Barcelona, Bayern Munich, Napoli, Liverpool, Man City, Real Madrid, or even the latest winners of the Champions League, PSG. These are all teams who are competing and playing at the highest of standards. They're performing at the highest ability, and they are all here located in Europe and meet on a regular basis against each other in Europe's top competition. So I'll ask this early on then. Do we even need a fixture like this to be taking place in Manchester City's first group stage game, as they face Wydad, a team who play in Morocco's first division, Batola? What does it do in terms of improving this sport? And if Manchester City beat this team 9-0, what does it exactly do to help show the competitiveness and certainly the appeal of this brand new tournament? Wydad isn't even a team that we knew much about, or certainly I didn't, until setting my eyes on this FIFA Club World Cup fixtures. As the thing is, we do have teams outside of Europe that we may keep an eye on now and then. We aren't perhaps strongly connected to the leagues that they play in unless we have reasons to be, and that's because these leagues just aren't at a good standard. Not at the higher amount of standard that the Premier League has to offer, or the La Liga has to offer, or just a lot of the main general European ones. And no shock that I will be using Inter Miami, as this is a team that we perhaps keep an eye on now and then for one reason and one reason only. We still appreciate what Lionel Messi can bring to this beautiful game. The incredible free kicks that we've seen him score for his new MLS side still testifies perhaps that Messi can still perform to the highest ability. We also then shoot back into reality and then realise that he is playing in the MLS, where the standard is a lot lower. But basically we're watching it for Messi. What we aren't doing is feasting ourselves to engage more with the MLS league, or majority of us aren't anyway. Perhaps this competition will give us the chance to see the appeal in wanting to see more of a certain club, leading us to indulge ourselves within a whole new league outside of Europe. Is this a tournament for us to get invested in other footballing leagues from around the world? I mean, I've just realised about the existence of Wydad. At the end of the day though, why should we be exposed to other football clubs from around the world? You can be a fan of football and be neutral all the way through, but a lot of people have a club they stand by and they're loyal to. Your team may never even come across half these teams in this tournament. It furthers our knowledge for sure on other leagues, but for the amount of passion we hold for the club we support, why would we be influenced to watching another league? Or is that a bit of an arrogant answer to give to Gianni's tournament? But we are all football fans. I certainly am, and if you're watching this right now, then you most certainly are as well. So let's ask the question again then. Do we really need to see the FIFA Club World Cup take place? By the time this video is out, we would have already seen the beginning of this tournament. If you've engaged with Gianni Infantino's competition so far, then let me know down in the comments below on your opinions on the tournament at this moment in time. As that's the thing, if the players are to blame anyone from the impact that this will have on their own welfare as a footballer, then they know who to go to. If you're a Chelsea player, you've just had to play 57 games of football this season. That is, of course, if you played every single game for the Blues in the 24-25 campaign. They are now stepping into month number 10 since the season took place, and they're still playing football. Is this healthy for the sport, or most importantly, the players? But let's stick with Chelsea here for a minute though, and go through what the tournament will entail for them. Just like any other World Cup that we normally see with international sides, Chelsea have 3 group stage games to play. That involves a meeting with Los Angeles Football Club, a team that features both Olivier Giroud and Hugo Lloris. They'll then play Brazilian side Flamengo 4 days later, and 5 days after this, they will then play a team called Esperance Tunis, a Tunisian side who have just won the Tunisian Cup 15 days ago of recording this video. That's just Group D, and here are the rest of the groups, and this was all arranged through the FIFA ranking system. What's the whole logic with this group stage draw then? Well, a team from pot 1 is going to either be a top 4 team from UEFA, or they will be a top 4 team from the South American Football Confederation. Pot number 2 are all the rest of the clubs in UEFA below the top 4. Pot number 3 are teams in the top 2 from either the Asian and African Football Confederation, and the other 2 are from the North American and Caribbean Football Confederation. And pot number 4 are all the remaining clubs from just mentioned football confederations, as well as a club from the Oceania Football Confederation and the host nation 2, which goes to, yes, you've guessed it, Inter Miami. The 2024 MLS season saw LA Galaxy win the league. That club will not feature in the FIFA Club World Cup though. However, there is a space for the newly formed club Inter Miami. It's suggested that this rule to have the host nation through no real merit whatsoever other than winning a supporters shield, which we'll get onto later on in the video in the next minute. It's purely on the basis to have them there because it's a team that features Lionel Messi in it, of course. It feels at this point that Gianni Infantino is simply a child with a lot of fancy buttons to press to just get what he wants. LA Galaxy missed out on this opportunity. However, Seattle Sounders are in this tournament, another MLS side, and they're only there on the basis that they won the 2022 CONCACAF Champions League. It's a tournament that was won by them 3 years ago. Originally, it was going to be given to Leon, a Mexican side that won the same tournament as the Sounders did in 2023, a year after Seattle. However, due to the fact that Leon have multi-club ownership with a club called Pachuca, Leon were disqualified, allowing a playoff spot for their replacement. This was between two teams, one being LAFC, who granted that playoff meeting from being the runners-up of the 2023 CONCACAF Champions League, and they'd face and beat Club America, who are the highest ranked non-qualified CONCACAF team based on recent performances. No space for the 2024 MLS title winners LA Galaxy, but there is space for Inter Miami. And as I've mentioned, they've just won the Supporters' Shield to qualify, a last-minute rule, by the way, brought in from Gianni, the president, to enable us to see what feels Lionel Messi FC. And as I've also mentioned as well, there's a space for Seattle Sounders, who last won a cup 3 years ago, and the other Los Angeles-based side, LAFC, who grant qualification through a last-minute trip-up from the fault of multi-club ownership. Is this a tournament that only exists through the desire of making money? Why did we need Inter Miami in this competition? Why didn't LA Galaxy get their well-deserved trip for this competition to play against other champions in their right minds who have won silverware, just like they did very recently, as in last year? Inter Miami are instantly in this competition through a makeshift rule, it feels, for David Beckham's current project to enter this tournament with ease, being classed as a host nation as well. After all, Lionel Messi will help increase the viewing figures. And again, sticking with Chelsea, if Enzo Maresca reaches the final with his side, then that'll mean an additional 4 games on top of the 3 that they would have already played in the group stages, as Chelsea will go through a 16-team tournament tree by that point. The final is going to be taking place on Sunday, July the 13th in East Rutherford, which is in New Jersey. From Chelsea's point of view, that's almost exactly a month before the new 2025-26 Premier League season will get underway, leaving not even a month's rest for that Chelsea team due to the training needed beforehand. I'm talking a lot here about the care and treatment for these players, but should I even be mentioning this? I mean, after all, Reece James is thought to be paid £13 million annually. It's not that harsh on these players being played in a congested and overplayed, as it suggests, footballing schedule like this, is it? And again, with Reece James, he's been one of the most important and influential players in previous Chelsea seasons before. Over the case of these 7 games that this tournament will have to offer for a team, who's to say Reece James won't conjure an injury in that time? Who's to say anyone won't conjure an injury in that time? We have a good reason to believe that the North and South American teams will give this a good go and effort. Los Angeles Football Club will face Chelsea. What if Reece James sees what has been an ongoing injury in the last year in his hamstring occur once again in that game, leaving him missing the start of their 25-26 season campaign? How much are clubs willing to put their players on the line for this tournament? What do the big sides like Chelsea, Manchester City, and even Real Madrid gain from what is essentially a pre-season tour in America? Gianni wants everyone playing to their best ability, after all. I'm going to be sticking with Chelsea in my next video, as I will be inviting a guest on the channel who's a Chelsea fan as well, to speak about what this tournament means for the Blues and what this tournament can do for the London side. So, of course, be sure to be there for that one by hitting the subscribe button. Would love to have you. We talk about how much teams will put their players on the line, specifically them bigger sides like Man City and Chelsea. But let's just talk about how much Gianni Infantino himself has put on the line in terms of the finance, in terms of the investment. He wants this to be a showstopper. The expectation from the FIFA president, well, he wants full stadiums. He wants all bums on seats. But is it catching the eyes of the world? The opening game has been and gone now. That was between Al Hilal and Inter Miami, which ended goalless. But for that opening game and opening ceremony, if you will, we saw tickets being priced at $300 originally. In recent weeks, we saw them tickets get reduced by $250 with a new selling price of around $50 a piece. That's all down to what seems to be a lack of interest from the fans with this tournament. Seemingly, it's not catching on just yet. And of course, the main point of this is for it to be entertaining, and in order for it to be entertaining, it has to be competitive. We want these players playing at their highest ability. In order for them to begin being competitive, they have to be bothered about it. It seems that's a big ask for mainstream European clubs, given the fact on how many games they've just played and the fact that they've more or less all concluded their seasons now. PSG are in this tournament. They've just won the Champions League. That was just 2 weeks ago. Before their opening game against Atletico Madrid, set to be one of the biggest games in the first week of the tournament, they've only really had 2 weeks worth of rest since they won that magical UEFA Champions League title. If the French side continue their perfect form, I mean, who's to say they won't walk this tournament and win the whole thing? Then, just like Chelsea, they'll more or less get just under a month wait of rest before their season starts, before Liga 1 starts. Let me just now throw this curveball to the topic, to this whole debate we've been having today. In terms of a financial point of view, if PSG had failed to have won that magical, and it was a magical UEFA Champions League title, then they would not have been doomed whatsoever. They're always going to have wealthy owners, PSG. But as we said, they are in fine form right now, and probably the best time to be in that kind of form that they are in. The final itself may appeal to every single club in this tournament. Something that could appeal for the French Giants is just how much this tournament has to offer to the winner at the end of it. The winner of the FIFA Club World Cup will get a staggering and a clueless amount of £97 million. For winning the Champions League, PSG got £24 million in prize money. Who really cares about winning the Champions League now in this day and age? PSG should have put a weaker team out in that Champions League final and really focused on this. Inter Milan were the ones who we can probably say maybe didn't really put 100% in that final performance in the Champions League. But maybe there was a reason for the lack of effort that they shown. Because guess what? Inter Milan are going to be playing in the FIFA Club World Cup. This is their moment to really find the upper gear. Who cares about £24 million? All eyes are on this staggering amount of £97 million in prize money that this tournament has to offer. Does this really dilute and devalue historic and critical tournaments like the UEFA Champions League? Is there an argument to be made that this tournament could really begin to dilute actual leagues? If PSG win the whole tournament themselves, then do they go back to Liga 1, and does it then get classed more as a farmers' league due to how financially well off PSG will be against all the other sides in France's top division? I'll ask it again. What exactly is the point other than the rich getting richer? And by that, I don't just mean the clubs too. I'm talking about everyone involved here. And essentially, it is just that. But let's remember this. The fans are the key interest here. That is us at the end of the day. So I'm going to ask you another question. Are you going to be watching this tournament, or are you watching this tournament already? What does it bring to football, and how does it progress it? There's a lot to be talked about for this tournament. A lot going on. Without a doubt, we get 100% great exposure for niche sides, for smaller sides around the world that we didn't even know the existence of before this. But there's then this other avenue of Inter Miami being involved. No LA Galaxy there for Gianni Infantino's reasoning of probably making as much money as possible. There's a lot to be talked about. I ran a poll on Twitter recently on my account just to see what the rest of the world is saying, or particularly the people that follow me. this is what they kind of think, and this is the amount that are going to be watching the tournament. But what does it really bring to football, and how does it progress it? How does it make it better? There's also talk about the tournament prize money that FIFA are offering here, and how it can belittle other tournaments, other prestigious tournaments like the UEFA Champions League, like the FA Cup that Crystal Palace have just won. Does that mean very little to them right now, with just the kind of comparison of the amount of money that Palace would have won? They need to make sure they get themselves into this tournament. This has way more money involved, but it's a little cheap in me saying that with just how new it is and the kind of concept, the kind of methods to it. It doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel natural. So let me know down in the comments below what you are thinking of this tournament. It is your time now to have a word about this and have your own opinion to be said about. And for more reaction of what will be from Chelsea's point of view, then please be sure to subscribe to the channel to watch that one with myself and Ollie talking about Chelsea's impact in this tournament and also discussing on what it exactly means for the Blues. Thank you for watching this one. My name is Rob. You've been watching the Footy Agenda. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you and goodbye.